Today at Manchester Theatres, it is my pleasure to be joined by celebrated tenor Caspar Singh, who is going to be making his debut performance with the English National Opera in the title role of Albert Herring. They are coming to Lowry for the very first time on the 21st and 22nd of October, so it's all very exciting. Now, Caspar's work includes so many different things, such as The Cunning Little Vixen, Fidelio, Così fan tutte, Taj Mahal, A Midsummer Night's Dream, a concert version of West Side Story for the BBC Proms, and I am just touching the sides. He has worked in some of the most prestigious buildings with some of the most wonderful opera companies right across the globe. So, Caspar, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about what is going to be a really exciting thing. It's the first time that the English National Opera are stepping outside of the capital and coming to the north, so it's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. A pleasure to be here to have this conversation. And yeah, as you said, it's an incredible moment, really, because it's this incredible company that it has so much tradition, but we're taking it up north and hopefully opening it up and this project up to a new audience. So that's really exciting to be part of.
Definitely. And this opera has been described as Britain's kind of coming of age opera. So tell us a little bit about the story and what goes on in it.
Yeah, it's an interesting opera for Britain to write because the first two he wrote were more or much more serious, and so this is his first foray into comedy, which makes it really exciting, I think, for a new audience as well. Which is why I guess we're taking it up to Manchester, and that's the first project for ENO there. And yeah, the story revolves around a small little town in England, and they're trying to discover or nominate rather a May Queen, which is what they do every year, and they need to find someone worthy enough for this title and a cash prize actually. But none of the local girls qualify in their eyes for this prize. So my name, Albert Herring's name, comes up. He's a local boy, and he's a greengrocer's son, and he's very very much straight laced and has been living a very sheltered life. And essentially, it's the story is about him, a coming of age story of him growing up during these few days that you see him in the show, and him finally being a little bit rebellious and experience some of the things that his two friends think he should. So yeah, and that creates lots of lots of drama amongst the village folk. So yeah, it's a really wonderful show. We opened it yeah, 2 days ago. Is that now in London? And the audience really responded to it. So I think it's going to be a really wonderful thing to show to the Manchester audience.
Definitely. And like you said, he starts off Albert as quite a shy, kind of introverted character. But by the
Absolutely.
end of the show, he's someone very different, let's say. So
Yeah.
for you, how, because you're kind of getting the best of both worlds there, aren't you? So how much fun is it to be able to almost play like both sides of the coins within one show?
Definitely. Yeah, it's a gift, really. I mean, it's always fun to be able to have an interesting character to play. It allows you to really dive into that part of the job, really, and not focus so much on the singing. You know, that's also important, but having a great character is always really fun. And yeah, I start off in this very shy, very sheltered, straight-laced kid, basically, and you get to play that awkwardness and shyness, and then he really opens up, and it's really fun as a singer, as a performer, to be able to show that progression and hopefully portray his story really well. And yeah, I had a really great time doing it the other night. We've got another show tomorrow, and then we'll come to Manchester. So lots of opportunities to explore this changing character further.
So how about you then? When you were growing up, where in that kind of sliding scale of Albert Herring from introvert to this like debauchery, where were you in growing up?
I was asked this the other day, actually.
Yeah.
So I had a little thought about it. I was very busy as a teenager. I was a cathedral chorister, so I had no time to be rebellious really. I think I also in my character I was always quite yeah, quite I followed the rules. So the not maybe quite as much as Albert does at the beginning, but I was closer to that side of it than the end of the opera. But yeah, as you grow up, you have all have your moments, and you get to explore life. And yeah, he goes to the pub and enjoys that in his evening of debauchery. And so it's yeah, that has certainly something I like to do when I'm back in the UK is the pub culture. So
Absolutely. And towards the end of the show, Albert gets this moment of this monologue where he's kind of reflecting and looking back on who he's become. And I believe it's quite an emotionally charged moment within the show. So, as
yeah.
a performer, when you're taking on something like that, do you, I know everyone's going to be different, but do you sort of look at that from an acting perspective first to find the kind of emotional connection? Do you look at it
Mhm.
as a singer first and find the technique, or do you kind of do it all at the same time?
Yeah, a bit all at the same time, really. Britain has written such an incredible score, and that makes it so easy because the music really reflects what he's saying and what he's feeling. So in that sense, I don't really have to think about the music because it's all there in the score, and it's just fantastic. But it's such a great opportunity. I love that part of the show because it's such a great opportunity to be over the top and really go for it acting wise, and you get to explore it because I don't know spoilers, but the story that he's telling isn't quite the truth. He's fabricating it a bit, just to sort of humor them because the actual things he's done is are probably worse than what he's saying. So that's fun because there's different layers to it. It's not just as straight as it maybe seems at first. Yeah, really wonderful part of the show, and it's a really fun and great opportunity for me. I'm with everyone's on stage at the same time, so you get to really play off all of your colleagues as well, which is
Yeah.
always fun.
And with the music, I believe that within it, Britain has kind of been inspired by, say, like British folk music. So there's that kind of
Sure.
quintessential Britishness about it all. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's definitely yeah. I mean, Britain is I would say our greatest, certainly opera composer, at least in my view. And yeah, he's there is a lot of quintessentially British, especially in this show because it's based in a small English town. It feels like that a lot of the time. But Britain was so incredible and clever that there's a moment where I'm drinking lemonade, which is part of the story, and he quotes Wagner's Tristan and Isolde in it. It just a very brief moment of Tristan in the score, and that's really clever and very interesting. And I love it when composers reference other things, whether it's their own work or someone else's. And I've done Tristan and Isolde at Glyndebourne, and so it was really nice to see that
Yeah.
again and hear it in the score because I immediately went, oh yeah, okay, I know where that is.
And the English National Opera, they do seem to use Britain as quite a staple of what they do. They do a lot of his work. So if you were kind of given like this dream opportunity of saying, right, I want to be with the English National Opera performing this opera in this venue, what would you choose? What would the combination be?
Wow, I mean that's a very tough question. I think I mean I'm really lucky that because this is my debut with the ENO, and I'm doing it in a Britain opera, which and I'm a huge Britain fan. It's already in English, which is I think nice because sometimes translations of other operas in other languages are not necessarily the best. So the fact that it's in English makes it really easy and really great. And to be doing the title role in my debut is a huge privilege. So I almost feel like I'm doing it now. But
Yeah.
if you push me to, in another Britain opera, you're asking.
Yes.
Um, well, I've done Midsummer Night's Dream and I've done Rape of Lucretia. Those are my two that I've done. I love both of them, but I've done Midsummer more so. I would probably say I'll do another Rape of Lucretia with in well I don't mind where it is, but I guess their home is the Coliseum in London, so yeah, let's say that.
Well, if you don't mind, we'll have you at Lowry then.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait to come. I've been to Manchester a few times, but I've never performed there, so it'll be my debut in Manchester, and I'm starting to explore the city a little bit more now. I've been a couple of times, so I'm really excited. It's gonna be a great trip.
And one of the other things that I love about this particular storyline is there's quite a lot of themes in it that are potentially kind of ahead of the time. So, for like you mentioned at the start, that they're looking for a female who's very virtuous and who has certain standards and things like that. And then when they don't find it, they suddenly question, well, hang on a minute, why is it just got to be a female who's got to be this way? So there's that. And then the fact that they then allow a boy to be in a traditionally female thing. And then there's kind of the drink spiking story of Albert Prince. There's a lot going on, isn't there? It's really quite modern.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think Britain was a very forward thinking. He was very keen to comment on important topics like the ones that you've mentioned. I think also he was gay, and so there's always well, not always, but there's often, and certainly in this show, an element of exploring sexuality as well, which is really interesting, and something that we play on in this production, which is something new for me as well to explore, which is really exciting. So yeah, Britain was definitely not afraid to push those boundaries and really question things, and I think that's so refreshing, and something very important, and that it's still relevant now, and that's yeah. So it's a really wonderful opera on many levels,
and it makes it a great one. So if people haven't been to the opera before, it makes it a really accessible one, doesn't it, for people who are experiencing opera for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say this is a great first opera to go and see because, like I said, also for a British audience, it's in English, so that makes it accessible immediately. But it's also a comedy, so it's really fun. I think it's very relatable because we sort of, even if we haven't lived in one, we know the sort of stereotype of a small English town, and yeah, so I think, and it's just a really fun show. So I think people will really enjoy it. We had lots of laughs the other night in London, so I'm hopeful that will continue with the rest of the shows.
It will, I'm sure. So finally, then, if Albert, towards the end of the show, so the version that we've got of him at the end, could say anything he wanted to Lady Billows without consequence, what would you love him to say?
Oh no! Oh, what a question. Yeah, what he sort of says it. He's very sort of politely saying, head off, please. I don't know what I'm allowed to say on this.
Well, we'll give you the Mancunian verses. Jog on, sweetheart.
Right. Right, exactly. So, yeah, he's sort of very politely saying that, but I love how he says it in a covered way. It's completely he's sort of very politely, he says, good day, just let me get on. And I think that's very, yeah, a very nice way of doing it. And then he immediately turns to Sid and Nancy and says, oh, I didn't lay it on too thick, did I? Yeah, so we have a lot of mischief and fun at the end, and actually that's my favorite scene in a way because it's just everything's come to a fore, and we've done, I've had my night of fun and mischief, and we get to sort of celebrate that at the end. So yeah, it's fun, really good.
Well, it sounds like the whole thing is going to be a big celebration of British opera. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much for joining me today.
Pleasure.
Yeah, we cannot wait for you to bring it to Lowry, debuting ENO at Lowry, first time outside of the capital. Very exciting. 21st and 22nd of October. Caspar, thank you so much, and not long to go. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Pleasure.